G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Algared, Astropub, and Citizencon Jr., clearly. I can't believe how young you look. It's crazy. Anyway.
I know! He's down the fountain of youth, obviously. I want some.
Yeah, I want those drugs. Anyway, so I was on Paul's show earlier on today with Noobfire, and we were talking about a bunch of things, and I kept on going off on tangents about the effect of the coronavirus on Star Citizen. And the more I thought about it, there was even more things that I didn't talk about on there. And so I thought that might be a bit better to talk on our show about those effects today. And we've probably talked for 2 hours now before we even started recording, just catching up on daily life of how this virus is affecting us. So
Yeah.
we Dyson was even with us before we started recording, so we don't get together in big groups like that
In fact,
often. But
Dyson was going to join us, but we took too long to get to the point
he
where we
had to go to
could
bed,
record,
so.
and he had to go to bed. So,
But yeah, it was just good to catch up with everyone, and we thought we'd try and get as many people as we could on this one, so we can all just catch up with everyone and see how everyone's doing. So if you like this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe. If you want to support us further, do so on Patreon. I think that kind of covers the basics. Where do you guys want to start today? Where's the so for me, I guess. Wait, let me go first then. So the first thing when I started thinking about this was, for me, it started with the Australian exchange rate, because the Australian exchange rates dropped drastically, and then I started thinking about buying Star Citizen ships, and then I started thinking of like how they would sell the ships, because globally, like one of the things we've been talking about just before the show was how so many people have lost their job, and Star Citizen Trades is having record number of people trying to move off their ships. So do you think many people will? Well, I'll start with you, see it. Do you think many people will be buying in this environment, or do you think it'll be more of a seller's market?
No, like you said, a lot of people have lost their jobs. So honestly, unless you are super secured with your job and you are financially stable and you have been prepared for this for a while, then no one's going to be buying the ship, which would probably be maybe the 1%, I'll say, of people who play Star Citizen were well prepared for this.
Do you,
That's probably it.
do you think preppers are having a field day of "I told you so"?
I mean, yes, but I mean, this is not the time to be saying "I told you so." This
Yeah.
is the time to be helping who you can in terms of people who are close to you, and if not, then you just hunker down. You got to wait it out.
I've been seeing lots of positive things actually, in a really weird way. It's funny how it's kind of brought humanity together in that regard, um, and lots of
Yeah,
what do you call it? Extraordinary circumstances globally.
I mean, there's a lot of positives and negatives. If for all you guys who are going to be watching this, I highly recommend you tune into r/coronavirus. It's a thread that has a bunch of news and really good moderators. I was able to find out like 3 or 4 hours before a lot of people at Boeing would find out, like California got closed down. My family's down there. How New York, Chicago, and all the other states are possibly getting shut down. Oregon just got shut down. New Jersey's kind of half and half. Did I say Illinois? If I didn't, Illinois got shut down too. It's getting it. I'm saying getting pretty serious.
So are
So
all your airports locked down? So no foreign countries coming in.
no.
No. Oh, okay. Well, that's
Airports are
happened
still
here.
considered essential.
That's
Airports are still considered essential here
We can have people come
for now.
back that live here, but if you don't live here, you can't come in. And it's even funnier in my state. Like Algared can't get to my state, but I could go to Algared's. It's that funny because we have the least number of cases where I live, so we've just blocked everyone out.
The current administration did put in a travel ban, so basically you're locked down. No Mexico, no Canada. You can't fly to European countries. Obviously, you can't fly to China.
Yeah.
So basically, right now it's there. If you do not have business, like if you do not have top critical business outside of America, basically, if you're not like CIA, FBI, or something along the lines of government entities flying in and out of a state, then you have no business flying at all right now. You should be inside.
Okay. Trying to move this back to Star Citizen more specifically. There will be things where we go off tangent today because we've just talked about this for, as I said, a couple of hours.
It's bigger than itself.
Yeah, it really
honestly.
is. And I do think it's a global issue, and I think this is the one episode where we're going to have a lot of leeway with this topic. But I was saying on Paul's show again on Captain's Table, I think they're more likely to be selling small volume-based sales, so things that are like maybe $50, rather than say something large. Like I just don't see a capital ship coming in the next 6 months. I think it would sell terribly. You kind of agreed with me at the time, though, didn't you, Paul? Is it? Do you think they'd be shifting things around behind the scenes at the moment, Paul?
I don't think they have the time for that. I think likely whatever they have is set in stone. There may be some stuff that's going to be sold. Well, I think they were always planning to have to go from small up to large. So because the beginnings of the year is always kind of rough for CIG in terms of sales.
Yep.
Because people, bought everything for the end of the last year. So they're going to sell anything. They got to sell something small because they're not going to have very impressive patches in terms of major content dumps and that kind of such. So I think if they have something coming up soon, it's going to be small anyways, but I don't think it's going to affect it long term. I think the biggest effect it'll have is probably how they're going to do sales next year. And at the end of the year, it's going to affect CIG's sales overall. There's going to be less money. They're not going to make nearly as much money this year as they did last year because people won't be as willing to start pulling out their wallets to buy stuff when 30% of the world is out of a job.
All right. Follow-up question then, real quick. Do you think that they are more likely because of that? You mentioned small, medium, large. That those small, medium, large ships may stay in the store so they can be purchased for longer. So they, sometimes they only make them limited, but then you get something like the Prospector that just stays there forever.
I don't think so. We'll see, but I don't think so either. I don't think CIG is really going to. I think long term this may have effect on CIG, but I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what it'll happen. Starting right now. Like I think this will probably have an effect. They may do that next year, but I think this year they're just going to hunker down and hope for the best. So,
okay. So
I would imagine it's a bit like sorry, Execute, but I would imagine that what you're saying they're doing is a bit like with education. Now, education, we're scrambling at the moment, saying how are we going to continue doing the lessons if we have to close the schools, or how are we going to do this? And it's really just getting ourselves up to speed because no one really knows how to cope with the current situation when things suddenly close down and we've got to keep going. And I imagine CIG is the same. Oh, we've got to close the office, but we've still got to do the work. How's it going to impact things? And so it is that play by ear aspect a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, right. But I think CIG is a little bit better position than most other companies would have been in this situation, just because they already have global connect. A lot of their work is done across the internet. So
a lot of cyber companies like this have that kind of benefit. If you're making virtual goods, then you kind of have that flexibility, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they were able to look and they were able to be prepared for this kind of thing.
Okay, well, my next another follow-up question, so to speak, is: do you think it might not affect this first sale so much, but do you think it will affect sales over the course of the year, as in like the net? So what is it, 3.9, 4.0? Do you think because those ships are kind of planned ahead of time, do you think they would be changing their plans now to better suit the global economy during this pandemic? I'll let anyone...
Probably not.
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Do you think... Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I think the biggest one we're going to see the impact on is certainly the Prowler. Like, that's coming in 3.9, which is smack bang, certainly for Australia, smack bang in the middle of where we expect, probably the peak to be for the coronavirus. And I know with the way our dollar's tanked, Like we're now down to 50 cents to the dollar against the American, and we're one of the largest contributors in terms of buying ships and things to Star Citizen. And I can't, if I didn't have a Prowler already, there's no way I could consider it. It's just doubling the price. It's just beyond the pale for me. And I'm sure it's the same for most Australians. So I think the way the economies are interacting and being affected by the virus is really going to impact sales. And I think that's probably the bigger aspect.
I think it's probably the other part. That is a whole heap of people have just lost their jobs. So, like I said with Star Citizen Trades, people are just offloading ships left, right, and center because they need essentials, and that is no longer an essential. Well, not that it ever was, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
They need to provide
it's a
for their
luxury
family.
item as opposed to food on the table.
Do you guys in the States, you two boys in the States, do you know anyone personally that's already lost their job yourselves? Like, how bad is it? I've heard it's in the neighborhood of 40%, but that I don't know if that's accurate.
It would, from what I've gathered, probably about that. Anywhere between 20 and 50% of everyone has lost their jobs. People who've been working in their companies for 20 years have lost their jobs.
And you'd sorry, just to interrupt. I know, but you'd assume that's temporary. Yeah? They've just laid them off with the intent to hire them back when this
the
is
company's
over?
dead.
These are the main.
Really?
The people who are getting affected the most are smaller businesses.
Right.
If you are a smaller business and you had employees, you cannot really survive in what's going on right now. So they had to fire. Well, they had to basically they had to fire them. Yeah, they had to close down. There was nothing
they had to close down.
See,
These companies are going bankrupt left, right, and center.
That's so different to what's happening here. See, we've just had a stimulus package where they're going to give every small business up to about $100,000 over the next 6 months to help them survive. Which is
that's
so
the
different.
plan here too.
Yeah,
but the problem is that it's also like we're going to give money to big companies, and then not to get too political, but it's a situation where the money is becoming a political pawn that they're playing with. So as a result, everyone's getting hurt because one side's like, let's sneak in some help for our buddies who make $2 billion or more. And then the other side's like, yeah, well, let's doing that. Let's just give everyone $2,000 regardless of what their paycheck is then. And then people are like, oh, well, then they're arguing back and forth over this, and no one's winning and everyone's losing their jobs.
It's not the time for political
to caveat.
Yeah.
To caveat on that, right now, around 75 million people within the United States are quarantined right now, and that number is just going to go up. Yeah. It's just a matter of time before Paul and I probably will get quarantined. I mean, the governor of Washington just said that he's trying to hold off, and he was begging people to make the right decision. But I mean, just me today, I went to Best Buy to pick up my new lens. They had a line outside, and I gloved up. I still kept my distance, and I kept my distance from the cashier and stuff. And I just said, put it down. And then I sprayed the box, let it sit for 30 seconds, grabbed it, and walked directly back to my truck. Even then, it's getting to the point. And I was up in for everybody who lives in Washington, I went to Marysville today, and I basically drove an hour there, and even at their gun and supply store where they did hunting and fishing, there was still a massive line, and people are still close together. It's crazy.
Have I'll talk about this in Australia in a minute, but have they locked certain states off from other states in the States yet?
No, but
only
they have
quarantine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
here in I live in Tasmania, which is the literally arse end of Australia, on an island. So unlike artificial borders,
the little island, it's that little island that if you ever see a map of Australia, is down underneath Victoria, which no one ever draws.
Yeah. But
sorry, just have to put the context for you.
Because there's a giant moat surrounding my island, we can actually enforce them not coming to us. So the only way in is by plane or boat. It was really funny. The toilet roll shortage at the moment. I had a friend in Adelaide where they actually make the toilet roll. He's like, "Oh man, we're set. Like if you guys get locked out, we've got all the toilet rolls." And I'm like, "That's fine." In Tasmania, we make 70% of the food for Australia. So see you later. And leaves grow on trees, and I can use leaves to wipe my ass. It's fine. And he was like, "Oh shit." So yeah, but it's actually kind of interesting how quickly when stuff went down. Australia seemed to take it fairly seriously, but they took really long time to actually respond. But when they did, it was very quick.
Yeah.
And from what I saw in the States, Trump seemed to downplay it a lot, but then he seemed to really backpedal really quickly. And then he seems to be really stepping up. Is that just an outsider's impression that's mistaken, or is he really seem to be like?
No, it's pretty. To be fair, I'm more of a centralist. I lean more right, but I'm still more in the center. But that doesn't really matter. The point was that yeah, he kind of really did downplay it. I was even pissed out, and then finally, once they started stopping air travel at certain countries, it could have been better. Everybody could have done a better part. Like I still see people pointing fingers at other people. At this point, it's like it doesn't matter. We are where we are now. Everyone just needs to just do the right thing
Have you
and not just.
Have you
What's up?
guys had? I was gonna say in the States, have you guys had much anarchy breakout? Like there was a video that went viral here of 3 women fighting over toilet rolls, in the middle of a Woolworths supermarket about a week and a half ago. Have you guys had anything akin to that go down? Just stupid shit like physical violence over
No.
toilet rolls and.
No.
No?
First of all, we don't even know the context of that video. All we see is the result. We see the reaction.
They interviewed people, and so we actually know what happened before and after. But
What happened?
Long story short, she stole a toilet roll off their trolley, like a pack off their trolley, because they'd taken all of them. And they had like about 10 of them. And then afterwards, what happens is the Woolworths people actually step in and take the entire trolley, and they only let them buy one each.
Yeah, they're. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, I take my statement back. But I mean, today I went to a Safeway, which is just a general grocery store.
Yep.
There was no panic. The shelves were mostly stocked. They had a limit on how much water you can buy. You only can buy 2 cases because a gentleman.
Yeah,
the only thing I was a little bit bugged by was nobody was wearing gloves. Nobody. Me and my girl were wearing gloves. We were keeping our space. Nobody was keeping space. Nobody was wearing gloves. It was quite disgusting.
I don't know if Algared can confirm this, but at Coles and Woolworths, after they serve you, every time they serve everybody, they have to sanitize their hands with hand sanitizer. Every single person. So they don't wear gloves, but they're continually sanitizing their hands, which I think is a bit silly. I think they should just have gloves because that would solve the problem.
The thing I found with the
washing hands will always be better than using hand sanitizer, because the issue with hand sanitizer is that you put it on and you rub it, so it's still on you. Washing your hands actively removes the contamination from your body, which is why washing your hands will always be better than putting on hand sanitizer.
If you're stuck behind a teller and you can't do that, then
you wear gloves.
Yeah, I kind of
usually.
I'm gonna try to bring us back into Star Citizen talk.
Please do.
We're getting more into general coronavirus, which is not a bad thing, but in general, like the big
not what
point
people
is
come here
Star
for,
Citizen.
but
yeah.
So then tell us, Paul, what do you want to talk about specifically?
No, he's done it.
I've done it. He talked about Star Citizen. Now, I think one of the big takeaways from this is, personally, I think, is that CIG is likely going to have delays. 3.9 is pretty much done, so they're not. It's not going to delay 3.9, but this will delay 4.0. This will delay 4.1 because they can't travel anymore to countries for the next couple of months, so they have to do everything by a conference, and that's going to take things slower. Everything's going to be slower because before you could just like peek over to the shoulder of somebody else and be like, hey, let's do this. Now you have to share video stuff, and it's going to be complicated. It's going to take a little bit longer. Everything's going to take a little bit longer.
Speeds.
I wonder how
not everyone has the same equipment. They have to buy equipment or bring equipment over from the office for some people because they don't have machines that can even run the game.
I got an elf in the room when you're done.
They're about to go on hiatus too for Inside Star Citizen and stuff like that as well. So that's really bad timing.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind that.
Everyone's
this
at
is the
home.
only hiatus that I feel like is okay.
Yeah. But I got the other end of the stick though is like we're all at home with nothing to do, so it's the real time you do actually want videos. So I do understand what you mean though. Yep.
So I
think it'd be a good time for free flight. Go ahead.
It would be
true.
So
that is true.
With the situation we are in now, we're going to see drops. We're possibly, let's be realistic, we're going to see some drops in sales, and also subscribers are going to drop.
Yeah.
And so that, I feel like this is going to have a direct impact on Citizencon, which was supposed to be the best one. I'm not saying we're not going to have a Citizencon. I pray to God, or pray to whoever you believe in, doesn't really matter. For me, it is. But like, will we still have a Citizencon? Will it still be in the same location? Will everything still be planned as planned? I honestly, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but let's be real here. Subscriber money also helps paying for that, and then ship sales and stuff. I'm pretty sure, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure every single little fund they collect between ships and subscribers helps drive Citizencon.
Worst case scenario, it'll turn out like
Well-
we've said for years. It'll just be a live stream, and that's what I reckon it should just be anyway. I've been saying it for years because it's not very inclusive. It's kind of like tied to one location. Yeah, it's cool to meet people in person and that, but it just kind of excludes whatever city is or country it is not in.
Yeah,
If, like, I see the value of it in terms of being the fact that when you've got fans there and they're interacting with the crew, the developers,
it's a lot different.
It's that interaction is what really inspires and G's them up. And so Citizencon, I don't think is really for us in terms of the live people being there.
This
it's
was
really for
this was going to be
developers.
my first Citizencon. Actually, I was playing because LA's home for me, so I was planning to fly there. I already, I mean, it's me. I'm not sad. I've already booked my plane ticket, so I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of other people booked something of some sort. So, like, don't get me wrong, I am not complaining. I'm not saying woe is me. I should have waited. That is not what I'm saying. It's the fact of, it's like a football game or whatever sport you enjoy. You get different perspectives. You sitting there close to the action, it's fun, it's exciting, but it's always better, in my opinion, to watch it on TV because you get all the angles. If you watch football, that's my Citizencon. Like, that's just me giving an example. Now back to Star Citizen.
Well, I was gonna say, hopefully,
it wasn't like,
by the time that Citizencon comes around, a lot of this
all blow over.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, you consider that we're, in Australia and certainly have a southern hemisphere, we're moving into winter, and for us, we're expecting the peak of coronavirus to be in May. Given that Citizencon is significantly later in the year, in October, you'd expect that from that period, that extra leeway of time that buffer will really mean that it can go ahead. The question, I think, is how much it impacts the content that's there.
The other thing is
that I don't know.
The other important factor is, since it's in the United States, will the current administration lift? Like, will they say, okay, let's say this blows over. Let's say that already a lot of numbers are recovering. Let's get this straight. It's not like everyone's dying. A lot of people are getting it, but a lot of people are recovering. So let's get that straight. But we don't know if the current administration is going to say, hey, we're going to lift these, so people from Europe who are trying to come here get to come to Citizencon. Because if there's a travel ban because of what happened a couple, like 4 or 5 months back, will people still be able to show up for what's supposed to be the best Citizencon there ever was?
And that's probably the biggest issue.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to have a Citizencon at this point.
Okay,
thank
you.
I don't think we're going to, just because the logistics involved requires months of planning, and like, people from Europe won't be coming. People from Australia probably won't be coming because of the money. I probably won't be able to go, even though it's not that far away. Like, I don't know what my employment situation is going to be at the end of the year, even though I have a job that pretty much guarantees me a job at any time. And my district is pretty good enough in terms of, like, they basically said, hey, as long as we're closed, we're going to pay our teachers and our like people who work in the district, because we have to, because I'm also on contract. But
the worst visual of you in a before and after image, like 6 months apart, like 6 months from now, you've got no, just totally. Sorry, like it's gone to the complete.
I still feel like people are going to be spooked and go and be cautious for the next year at least.
But I think your point, Sia, was really spot on. It really, it doesn't matter whether the virus is gone and the peak is over.
It's the
The
fact it's in
question
the
is gonna
US and will
be,
the administration open it up for travel
well, it's
again?
even anyone's administration. People going from, say, Europe, will the Europeans be able to get back home because, oh, you've been to that country? Now, so will the administrations globally actually have loosened the constraints? And then
Yeah.
Realistically, we did kind of talk about this a little bit before the show, but it's more likely certain areas will become looser over time, and certain countries will remain quarantined as they try to kill off the virus. So, like I said, in my state's got the least number, so we'll probably be going back to normal sooner than most people, because once those 10 cases have disappeared, we got 10 cases in 500,000 people. So once those
Yeah.
10 people have been quarantined, once they totally disappear, maybe a month after
There'll probably
that,
be a couple more. There'll probably be
that's
a
what I'm
couple
saying.
more, but I
They'll
see
keep
what you're
everyone
saying.
quarantined, but then after like a month of just nothing, they'll go, all right, all go back to normal, and then just within my area it'll be fine, and then they'll just and then you'll imagine the whole country will come up, but they'll do that across the world. So somewhere like where it's really bad, like Afghanistan or Italy,
Iraq. I mean,
Iraq.
Iran.
But they may take
Iran.
a much
Iran's
longer.
really bad.
Iran, not Iraq. Iran.
Iran right now has the most cases of the more deadlier strand of the coronavirus. There was actually satellite images of them digging mass graves.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, a lot of their hygiene is a lot different. Like a part of it has to do with some religious practices, but I'm not getting into that.
There is positives though.
Yeah.
Algared, mention what you were saying about China and the smog real quick, because I found that
That's
very
right.
funny.
Yeah.
The
Well,
irony.
you know, the couple of weeks ago there was a satellite image of China on our news, and it was, hey, you can actually see China from the satellite image. And the week before it was like just brown haze. And so one of the positives is pollution's down.
Same thing with Venice. The actual rivers that flow through the city actually are getting fish again. It's amazing what
just
happens when
nuts.
humans stop polluting,
Yeah.
and when humans stop being nasty, the environment actually goes back to normal.
Yeah. So it kind of shows you all that global warming thing, and the steps that we could take to fix that will probably damn work. So yeah, I'm interested to know what other positives.
All we need is the virus, and nature just corrects
All we need
itself.
is more people playing Star Citizen and staying at home.
Exactly.
Absolutely, good point.
But I mean, to kind of continue on my point about, I think Star Citizen or Citizencon's canceled, is that you're dealing with a situation where just logistically the borders will be closed for a long time, and so if you are not in the United States, it may be too expensive or too complicated to try and get in, and then if you're in the United States, you may not have the money or the time, because it's going to take, even if this goes entirely blows through the entire population, or through most of the population of the world, in the next 3 months, we'll be in recovery mode for years. This is going to take years to recover from.
Have you heard about the lung damage that it's doing to people that are recovering in China? They've lost up to 30% of their lung capacity, the people that are recovering. So it's the type of thing, if you catch it, you're probably going to remain with that condition for life.
My point about being it with Citizencon is that, like, I don't think logistically, I don't think people should be planning on going to Citizencon anytime soon. Yeah. And I honestly think CIG if they are going to do the responsible thing, they should cancel Citizencon and just move it to a digital platform. It sucks, but before they start selling tickets, they need to make sure to do that.
So in other words, Astropub, what we're saying is, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Inforunners giving you this scoop. We believe that Citizencon will be cancelled.
I have to agree with Paul. This was as soon as I saw this whole virus thing, and I had people that were monitoring it ever since December, and I was hearing about it, and I started to get concerned, and people were actually talking about it on Reddit. They were talking about it on Spectrum, and they were talking about it on like the Ready Player One Facebook, and people were just lashing out at them, saying how this whole thing is not even that serious. It's another SARS. It's another whatever. And I'm just like, well, I mean, it hasn't even really begun yet. It just started. We haven't even seen the peak of it, because every country's different. Everybody has different standards of ways of life and stuff. So like, we can't be rash when we say that. And now
Even
it's
cultural
like
differences
Paul,
will make a
exactly,
difference.
cultural differences too.
Mm.
It's like people can't be too hasty to jump on the bandwagon that we're giving misinformation or something. This is real. We're talking about this is real.
And one of the things, like, I know this isn't Star Citizen, but one of the things that really interested me was the fact that people were complaining about the World Health Organization for not declaring it a pandemic earlier, and yet when they declared the last virus a pandemic really early, the SARS one, they got panned because it didn't end up being as bad as it was. And so,
but it probably stopped it.
You know,
from
what do you
getting
want
to the,
people? Yeah. And so, you know, what do you want people? Do you want them to actually clamp down on things quick, or do you want them to play the waiting game? And I think this is just an example of where,
if you play the waiting game, look at where Italy is at. That's what happens when you play the waiting game.
Yeah.
It is.
It's really sad.
Do you hear about those valves that cost $11,000, and those two guys at the hospital just started printing them, and it only cost them $1 because they needed them to save people's lives. And the company did threaten, but have not followed up on suing them. They said,
because they'll get demolished by every single person that is alive that has
it'll kill the company.
Money.
The stock would just plummet because they'd think they were scum.
As it should.
Yeah,
seriously.
But yeah, $11,000 for a little plastic valve seems insane. But yeah,
I mean, it's the same for people who have diabetes, and it costs an arm and a leg just to get your insulin.
Yeah, there's some really. I watched a documentary really recently on Netflix called Dirty Money. There's 3 seasons of it, and one of the episodes was specifically talking about that. And some pill that this lady takes that used to cost her $20 a month now costs her $200,000 a month. Insanity, and it's totally legal in the United States. But I digress. I definitely hope that does not happen with some kind of cure for this disease. Let's just.
Bringing this back to Star Citizen though, like I mean, we already said there was going to be some tangents because this is so much bigger than Star Citizen. It really is. But I mean, we brushed up on Citizencon. We brushed up on the fact that that this is going to affect sales. It's going to slow down their development process because even though they can do things remotely, it's harder to do it from home because not everybody has the same gear. It's not really efficient to take the gear from CIG home because 1, it's not that easy, and 2, there's probably policies in place and stuff that we don't even see because it's the same thing at Boeing. There's policies and things in place. Even I have my own work laptop, but I can't work from home because I work on the airplane. You can't work from home and work on the airplane from the same time. I use it for different things that I can't discuss because of classified reasons, not because I'm weird. But so
we still think you're weird.
Where's my tinfoil hat? Well, I guess this will do. But anyways, I digress. But it's very frustrating. It's going to be a hard year, but I don't know. I just hope this. I just hope everybody is smart, and I hope that honestly that everything could go back to the way of life within the next couple of months. Every single administration in the world can make the right decisions, and I hope that CIG will be able to recover from this themselves because remember that they don't have a developer. We give them most of their money. Publisher, not developer. Excuse me. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for catching that. No, it's fine. But we directly fund this game. So if the people who directly fund this game are sheltered in place and don't have jobs and don't have money, it's really going to be a hard year for CIG. This is going to be a testament. This is going to literally be the hardest year for them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like you thought 2012 was hard. Well, welcome to 2020. We're only 3 months in.
Yeah, and I think that's the really big thing, that the fact that the impact of the virus on people who are out of work and therefore not really willing to spend money on luxury items and computer games, and they're worrying about getting the staples and that stuff. I think the fact that we're not spending money on the game is really going to have an impact on the bottom line of the income of Star Citizen, and that's probably, as you said, is going to make this the toughest year for them. And
it really will.
Could it be the make or break year?
I wonder how many toilet rolls I can get for a reclaimer.
Honestly, don't get me wrong, but it's like, in my opinion, instead of like, because let's be real, not a lot of people are gonna be able to buy a decent medium size whatever they have planned for this year, especially early on. Like they had a teaser for an Origin, unless it's the rework for the M50. No one's gonna be able to shell out a freaking module.
They're
or
traditionally
whatever
expensive ships,
speculation,
aren't they? Too the
like
Origin ones.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of predatory purchases and stuff, but do you guys think it would be the smart decision if CIG invested in making a lot of different cosmetic options for us to use that would microtransactions? Do you think
100%.
microtransactions
That's very
would be the
similar to
perfect
what
way to go in this situation?
That's very similar to what I suggested on the Astropub today. Small volume-based purchases, right? Like I think selling something like a Polaris 2.0 would be suicide.
No, there's no point.
Yeah,
no one's gonna spend freaking $800 plus tax at this time. Hey, you got a notification, by the way. Just kidding, but
I did want to add. Have you noticed how some people have been how do you call it? Really clever with how they've been doing stuff online. So the one I mentioned on Astropub was IGN. All the IGN guys are basically doing a podcast like we're doing right now at home every day of the week. Jimmy Kimmel, and who's the other guy? This the late night show guys. They're literally doing their shows from home via webcam every day, and they do like a 20-minute show. And yesterday, Jimmy Kimmel had his whole family, and they were like sitting around the couch just talking to like so they call up some celebrity on Skype and just talk to them, and that's the show for the day. Like, that's nuts. Like, when was the last time you couldn't do that ever in history? So Jimmy Kimmel is doing a Skype show every day. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, that is a serious change to the system.
It would, be. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's probably not going to happen. But what would really be cool is if CIG reached out to the community in a way that, like, since it's going to be hard to do calling all devs inside Star Citizen stuff, they do like a podcast with people like Paul or people like the Inforunners or board gamer stuff, when they just talk about Star Citizen with like Jared or something, because this is out of everybody's hands, and it would be cool if the developers actually got to talk, or Nubifier or WTFosaurus or people just like that. It would be cool from the reach out to us and just
the Galactic Historian
about Star Citizen. I mean, even me as well, but they probably don't even know who I am.
The Galactic Historian talks to the lore guys.
I could actually see them.
All the lore guys talk to Astropub, or shipbuilders talk to you about
how they've kind of locked down devs and
refueling
stuff
ships
over the last few years. It'd be cool if just they temporarily open that up just for the next while to give.
I mean, it will be really encouraging. It would really be encouraging. Like, there's nothing they could do. There's nothing we could do. Why not open the doors and just talk to people who lead an example in a good way in the Star Citizen community.
All right, I'm going to start.
I think that's going to be needed, isn't it?
I'm going to start wrapping this up. So if anyone,
that's fine.
Algared, say a comment, and then I'll ask everyone else.
I was going to say, you almost really need to do that. Like, when they started, that's what they did. They kind of were constantly interacting with the community to build that hype and that that support. Now that we've got this crisis where everyone is kind of almost pulling back, you've got to go back
to your roots.
Yeah, absolutely. So 100%
people
agree
together,
with what you're saying there.
Like, you've got to use that artificial socialization rather than really cutting everyone off. Like 20 years ago, this would have been such a like. Do you imagine how socially isolating it actually would have been 20 years ago? Like, it would have been crazy.
20 years ago, we wouldn't have known about it. We wouldn't have had social media.
Yeah, probably.
So we wouldn't have been getting it as much. So,
yeah. Is there anything, Paul or C, that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I mean,
stay safe.
Definitely
stay safe.
Stay safe.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of unknowns out there, and a lot of things is going to happen in the near future. And one of the things that seems to be pretty consistent is they want to keep the lights on and the internet up, and they don't want you to go to work. They want you to stay home. So Star Citizen is a game that you can play.
Practice safe sex, full body hazard
Yes.
suits. You can still
Oh
make
Jesus!
out.
Please practice safe sex. You don't need a 9 month baby boom after this.
Yeah. Full body condom.
And while
I'll close it by saying this will be a serious piece, but seriously, this is honestly like Star Citizen altogether has literally, like, I don't talk about this at all, so this is probably the one time I say it. I have very, very bad depression and anxiety, so Star Citizen and content creation helps a lot with that. And like, don't get me wrong, I've been trained to deal with stress from the military, so like that's not the issue. But this last couple months have been dark because of family and good things in my life leaving in certain ways. Like me and my girl are fine. That's not what I'm saying. But like my relatives have died, and then my puppy, she passed away too. So I couldn't even be there. Can't even be around my parents because they're in their 60s. So this is a very, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of other people are in the same situation, and I won't be able to go to my grandma's funeral because I don't want to get my family sick. Like, straight up, I will refuse to go because I love them that much. So believe me, this has also been a really hard time for me too. And being able to rely on my buddies like you guys in the community and Star Citizen to get my mind away from it when I just need to isolate myself from everybody, because I'm an introvert, let's be real here, or else I wouldn't be here. But and even photography, I've been doing that too. So maybe I'll put up a couple pictures later on. But
I think we'll make it through together. I think that's what I would take away.
Like, seriously, go join everybody's Discord. Have fun. Like, talk.
It
doesn't fucking matter anymore.
How often
just
do we all have
people.
this amount of free time too? So take the opportunity to get out and actually meet the people in the community. I do know our Discord's kicking off. There's always chat going on in there, and just randomly I'll jump in the channel, and then and this is like 4 a.m. my time, and then I've seen Seer drop in before. And people just drop in and start chatting. So it doesn't have to be our Discord.
When Execute says, go out, he means online.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah,
get on
that's
Discord.
what I meant.
Go
out on
physically,
Discord.
But get on.
Yeah, you can't physically go out.
Fresh air.
But
it's okay to get some fresh air too. If you're quarantined, you can go outside. Just don't go around people.
Yeah.
You need fresh air. Get fresh air. You need that.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said go out. So go out of your way to socialize online. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for picking me up on that, Algared. You knew what I meant though, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So let us go, like, in the comments, guys. Let us know how you guys are handling this. Let us know that your family's safe, that type of thing. Let us know some of the issues you guys are having, especially if you are not from the United States or Australia, because this is a global community, and I do want to know people. Like, I've been talking to some of the guys in the Discord, and they've been bringing up some stuff that I just never thought that would have been an issue. But as Sia said earlier, cultural differences make the world of difference. So yeah, let us know that you're safe. Let us know what you think of the effects are going to be on Star Citizen. I know we went fairly off tangent today, and I did say that at the start, but exceptional circumstances, exceptional show. We'll just leave it at that. He's been Algared. He's been Paul. Paul, do you want to tell people where they can find you on Twitch and your channel and stuff?
Twitch.tv/the Astropub and youtube.com/the Astropub.
Cool. And tell people quickly the type of things you do, like Galactic Historian, blah, blah, blah.
I do a lore series called Galactic Historian. I've been working on a long documentary. It's going to be feature length, and I've got 2 more weeks because classes are closed for at least another 2 weeks to work on it. So you guys can check that out on YouTube here shortly. But I also do kind of a series on taking sources and lore and breaking it down, making it easier so you don't have to read everything. I do it for you.
I was about to say very handy if you don't feel like reading the lore. You can just listen to Paul and slowly fall asleep. No, I'm just kidding.
And
exactly. Just I will put you to sleep.
Your feature-length episode, that was the one you just did a trailer for. Is that right?
Yeah, I did a trailer for it and I did a preview because I'd finished the first part of it. I was able to get all the voice work done for it. Part 2 is done. I just need a couple more voice work. And then I've got to get some voice actors.
Didn't you need me to do a voice for you? Yeah. I remember you talked to me about
that. If you do a voice actor work, I can do that. I could have you play Gavin Hurston as a rich bastard. I'm sure you'll do fun with that.
Okay.
But then
is
I
it
also
the rich
do,
part or the bastard part you think I've perfected? I'm just curious, Doctor.
Yes.
Don't answer.
Oh, yes. Definitely bastard.
Sia, do you want to quickly tell people where they can find you, man, on your channel? No?
That's okay.
You sure?
That's okay.
All right.
They don't need to know who I am.
See the sixth on YouTube.
Yeah.
See the sixth on YouTube.
It's got that yellow thing going. It's very yellow.
That's right.
It's supposed to be an eye, but people think it's a disc, so whatever.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was a CD. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job, Sear. Good marketing.
That's all right. I hope you redo the logo so it looks like an eye. It'll be fine. Right.
I like it.
Oh,
I
is it
don't
meant to
think
be
we
like a
change
Sears eye? Oh, click.
Because
okay,
I'm
now it
an-
makes
ana-
sense. Right, yeah.
the analytics. I'm always looking at the analytics, so it's supposed to be an eye.
Right, okay. All right, everyone. I think from all of us, including Dyson and Osiris that are not here, we can say make sure you stay safe, and we hope you guys to see you with the next one. All right. Catch you all next time.
Take care.